Good afternoon, boys. Today we're going to be looking at another contract which is called the lease agreement. So it's always important to remember who are the two parties that are involved in a lease agreement. And if we look at this, the names are quite easy. It sounds like a lease. You have the leaseor and the leasee. So the leaseor is the person who owns the asset, who owns the product, and the leasee is the person who is paying to use this item. So the lease agreement is sometimes used for property, vehicles, office, or any other equipment. It's very similar to a rental agreement. But what's different here is that it's for a very specific period of time, whether it's 2 years, 3 years, 6 months. And coupled with that, it's for a specific amount of money that you need to pay every single month. So as we said before, this contract is between the leasee and the leaseor. And the leasee has to pay monthly in order to use these goods. But remember here, he never ever becomes the owner of that item. It's not like a hire purchase. With a lease agreement, you never take ownership of the item. It's like paying to use something monthly and then returning it. Think of if you were going to hire a suit for your matric dance, you would hire it, pay an amount, use it for a specific period, and then return it after that. Some other examples in business are big photocopy machines. They're too expensive for businesses to buy. And if a business did buy it and it broke down, then they wouldn't have anything to use. Whereas with a lease agreement, you often are given the use of the asset, such as these photocopy machines, as well as maintenance. So if something goes wrong, they come in very quickly and they fix it for you. So it really is far cheaper for businesses to use a lease agreement rather than buying these assets. Even forklifts can be leased. Here's an example of Toyota who leases out forklifts. So remember, as a business, you won't own it, you'll pay to use it. And if it's broken, then Toyota will do the maintenance on it. So in this lease agreement, what are the rights and duties of both parties? Well, the leaseor, the person who owns the asset, has to make sure that it's available on the date that was stipulated in the contract, okay? Has to ensure that the property is in the condition as stipulated in the contract. Also, the leaseor can't come and interfere the daily running of a business the whole time and check up unnecessarily on his asset, right? The leasee has to pay the agreed amount monthly. They must also take good care of the property, because if they don't, they're not keeping their part of the contract. And once the contract has ended, they must return the property in the condition that it was when they took hold of it. A lease agreement is, why do people go for this? It's used in very capital intensive businesses where premises and other assets such as machinery are really far too expensive to buy. The legislation or the law that governs this contract is the Rental Housing Act. The last thing I do just want to say about a lease agreement is that the advantages for the leasee, the person using the asset, is that they now don't need a lot of capital to buy the item. Secondly, whatever they are using is normally the latest, so it's the most up-to-date version of an item. And the leasee can deduct this leasing expense so as to reduce the amount of tax that they pay. Have a good day, everyone.